Christmas Eve came finally. I was sick. I had to go to the hospital. I kind of thought I was miscarrying. I wanted it to be a boy. I named it Eddie. I called Uber thanks to Darren, and I ran to the hospital. It was crazy. And very shortly thereafter, Lillian was born. She didn't cry when she was born. She sang. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever witnessed in my life. You know, before that, I didn't want girls. I was scared of being a girl mom. I had boys. I was a boy mom. But there she was, and she was so tiny, so beautiful. My mind couldn't wrap around what happened to me next. She was born snow white and beautiful. And then she just got tanner and tanner and tanner and tanner until she was brown. Very brown. Actually golden. She was the color of sunshine. I knew at that point that I couldn't continue to lie about the rape. And then things got bad. He would scream at me for days, telling me to kill myself, that I wasn't good enough to have kids. He would come over to my house and make huge messes and tell me that I was responsible for it because he was a guest. I would call him and beg him to come over just long enough for me to sleep an hour or two. I even paid for the Ubers. I was spending $300 a month just in his groceries so that he would just come and help me for 5 minutes. And then this little girl, she was brown, and he hated her so much. How could you hate a child? He screamed at me. He wanted me to give her up for adoption. And then one night he came to me and said, "Well, this is so hard on you. You should just go ahead and let me have her." And I said, "What?" He's like, "I won't hurt her. I just want to touch her. I want to raise her so that it's okay to touch her." And I said, "What?" And then he started telling me about how he wanted to make porn with my son, Mike. I went bananas. My son is 1 year old. It is at that point that I started looking at his phone, and I started finding cartoon porn, images of little girls, websites, and links where he would follow them until he found kitty porn. Things got worse. I was fighting all the time. Every time he talked to me, I was angry. How could you be that? How could you be in my house? I trained my oldest son to never, ever talk to anybody like that. What if? I wouldn't let him back in the house. So finally his birthday came around, and I didn't want him over here. I told him not to come, and he got an Uber over here, and then he told me he didn't have money to go home. He couldn't leave. I didn't want him here. So many fights have happened because that's how he plays me. He just shows up and says, "Well, I can't go home." Every time I dumped him, he would start sending me presents, start calling me, make sure I couldn't date anybody else. And then he would come over here and he'd call me a slut and a whore because he thinks that being raped means I cheated. And he was so obsessed with my ex-boyfriend, it was stupid. That isn't even the worst part. The worst part was that he kind of made me have sex with his best friend for a tattoo one night. That kind of was it. That's the last time he lived under my roof. I hated him. He wouldn't change his address. He wouldn't leave me alone. He lies so much, I can't stand it. So we broke up a few days before this happened. The night this happened, me and Lily had played all day long. Me and the kids were exhausted. We had gotten up early, nobody napped, and we were all tired. She was cutting teeth. I laid her in the bed long ways instead of the other way, vertically. And I went to bed. It was late. I figured, she'd cry herself to sleep in a few minutes. She was safe. She's been in that bed 1,000 times. Everything was fine. When I woke up, she was dead. She had suffocated. my son had tried to comfort her, and he fell asleep, and she somehow got wedged in between the bed. Her octopus pinky was where her head should have been. I snatched her up, and I started trying to do CPR. I snatched her outfit off. I tried it. I tried everything. And these people came, and they tried too. Then the ambulance, and she was warm, and I tried. I was blown in her face, and then everything goes away. I saw so many lights and so many people. There were police officers all over my house. They were throwing things in her bed. They were just, they didn't care. I told them I bought the bed. I was responsible. I still am. I bought the bed. I bought the mattress. I went to bed. I'm to blame. The rape made it so hard. I loved her so much. And in my moment of darkness, I then had to defend myself. I didn't understand why. I didn't understand he was going to steal my son. I tried to talk to people about what happened. And then the phone call started in the middle of the night. Private block numbers telling me I'm a baby killer. I did everything I could. I would have hurt myself before I would have ever hurt my daughter. I didn't understand until she left me what was real. The reality is that I loved her to the point where I made sure I said it to him constantly. No matter how much you hit me, no matter how much you scream at me and tell me to go kill myself, I'm never going to let you around her. When he'd babysit her, I had him on a live feed camera. He didn't even know that. I didn't trust him. He wanted to have sex with my daughter and my son. My daughter was perfect. She was the sunshine. Everybody kept saying, well, I can't believe that you're so strong that you'd raise this baby. What the fuck were they talking about? I wasn't strong. I was her mommy. That's not the same. I was supposed to put her in the bed the other way. I lost her at 6 months. I lost everybody. I tried to kill myself and got put in the hospital for 7 days. And by the time I got my head back together, things got even worse. Was it easy? No. The first month or two, I was just so mad that she was from that rape. Because why? Why is that fair? Why'd the next Nexplanon break? No. The minute she smiled, it was over. I would have done anything for her for the rest of my life. It was not her fault. I was raped. It wasn't her fault. Mama was tired. I was so scared to go to sleep. I was scared. I was scared for everything. She was so small and she was so tiny. I would trade my life for hers. There's nowhere. So when you think about people selling their souls to the devil, that's not true. Because I would have. They didn't come. I lost everything. When he found out I was getting out of the hospital, he turned my power off. Because I had him in his name because of the apartment incident. So, I can't fix anything. I can't make things better now. My sons are gone. I don't... Aiden's happy and good, but Mike's with a pedophile. Mike's with a pedophile, and nobody will listen to me. Nobody has ever listened to me in my entire life. And now I can't yell anymore. I am utterly alone. Everything I love has either left me or died. How do you fix that? And the person I need the most might as well live on the moon now. He's in my dreams all the time. I guess one day we'll meet back up in Midian. He and I are monsters. We're the same. Do you know why I'm a monster? I laid her in the bed wrong. I lived my whole life screwing everything up. There is no home left.